What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
All right, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is having a great Saturday morning. It is early, 7 o'clock to be exact. It is the Jaguar Journal. Of course, I'm Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning, everybody out there listening around the Baton Rouge capital city area on Talk 107.3 FM. Glad to have you guys and everybody out there watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live as well. Glad to have you guys join us this morning as we get ready to get things rocking and rolling. Very special show today. We're going to talk about a plethora of things. Guess what? Southern University has changed its homecoming parade time, so we'll talk about that. We'll look at some of the things that's happening in athletics in terms of on the academia side. Then we're going to talk about your health. Why does your health matter and certain steps in order to prevent some things in life, especially when it comes to health, because some things are preventable. We just got to be able to do our part in order to make sure we take the necessary measures in order to make sure everything is good. So we're going to talk about all that this morning, but I hope you guys are having a great day. Be sure, as always, not just the people who are listening on radio, but if you are listening on radio, be sure to go over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Guess what? Become a subscriber. It costs nothing. It's just hit them button, and you get a notification like I just did anytime that the Jaguar Journal goes live, and that's all we're asking. And as well as not only live, anytime we post segments from previous shows, it just keeps you up to date with everything that we're doing in terms of our YouTube side of things, and as well as be able to go follow the Jaguar Journal and like us on Facebook, on X, as well as Instagram. Of course, you know, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're all over the place. So we just ask that you keep up with us. It costs nothing across any of those platforms. It just takes for you to hit a follow button here, a like button there, and a subscribe button there, and you'll be able to keep up with the Jaguar Journal and be able to follow through with us. So let's do this right quick. It's going on about 7:15. Let's take our first break of the day. And I'll come back on the other side. We'll talk a little bit more about Southern University changing its homecoming schedule in terms of the parade and a little bit more in terms of athletics. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And, Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help. Only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking in the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown!
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8, the deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard, 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
Back, everybody. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm Perry White. Everybody listening on Talk 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area. Good morning. Everybody listening all across the United States and the world, as we found out last week. Paris, France was knocking at the door saying, hey, we'll listen to you over in that area on our Facebook and our YouTube Live. Good morning. Glad to have you guys. Southern University, let's get into the athletic side of things before we get rolling into the rest of the show. Southern lands 164 student athletes on the SWAC Commissioner Honor Roll. The Southwestern Athletic Conference has announced its 2024-25 SWAC Commissioners Honor Roll, and Southern University Athletics has continued to excel in the classroom with 164 Jaguars earning a spot on that prestigious list. The SWAC's Commissioners Honor Roll is comprised of student athletes with a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher during the fall 2024 and spring 2025 semester. Football saw the most student athletes recognized with 29. Softball followed with 19 student athletes honored, followed by baseball with 16, men's cross country / track and field with 16, volleyball with 16, women's cross country track and field with 15, soccer with 15, men's basketball with 8, women's basketball with 7, bowling with 7, women's tennis with 6, men's tennis with 4. And you're looking at men's and women's golf with 2 total. The full list of honorees can be found on the Southern University athletic page if you want to go check that out. So congratulations to Southern University landing 164 student athletes on the SWAC Commissioners Honor Roll. That is a huge honor for them. And that shows the testament of what these student athletes are doing in the classroom. And I think as well as the administration over in athletics and what they're doing and those coaches to be able to make sure those students are doing what they need to do both on and off the field, the court, the diamond, the track, whatever it is, the bowling lanes, all of those things that those student athletes are over there making sure realizing what they came to school for, and that is to graduate. And, even with looking at that, especially in the age of the transfer portal where, we had that conversation with Coach Dawson Odom of how much are students really taking in consideration of how important it really is with school and grades. So I'm glad to see that they're able to do these things, that they're making it and doing it, and not only doing it to the highest level. At the end of the day, to me, that's what matters when these students are doing it at the highest level. And shout out to the athletic department over there. I know sometimes I can come off a little hard on them and to the school, but at the end of the day, hey, I'm going to talk about the good things too. And to have that many students on that level, considering some years ago when we were looking at some issues, right? And the issues were APR. And now look where we are. The university has completely flipped things around. Athletics has completely flipped things around, and they're doing the necessary things in order to ensure that these student athletes are excelling in and out of the classroom, and I'm glad to see that. All right, let's look at something else happening this week. News has dropped. Of course, last year, there were a lot of complaints about Southern University's homecoming parade leading up to Southern University's homecoming day on campus. Last year, I must say, I've talked to plenty of people. This was one of the biggest homecomings, if not the largest homecoming probably ever. Just the sheer amount of traffic. I was in traffic on campus at about 5:30 that morning trying to get over the hump, coming down Harding Boulevard. I think everybody who was a part of it last year really saw this was a traffic nightmare. Could it have things been done different in terms of how we direct traffic? Of course. But I just think the influx of traffic for the Southern versus Alcorn game last year, I think when you culminate what was on the line on top of two teams at the top of the SWAC West heading into that game, a homecoming environment with a school like Alcorn that is right up the road and has a huge base of alums right here in the Baton Rouge area, it just culminated for a big day. Plus, LSU not having a game in town that day. What happens? It just makes all eyes, the focus was on Southern University and North Baton Rouge. Now, we understand in the past the parade does, one of the unfortunate things about the parade, it does shut down the main route in terms of coming into campus. And while the parade is going on, they try to direct traffic around the back of campus to come in through Swan to alleviate traffic, to still have a traffic flow onto campus while the parade is going on. And in the past, it has been bright and early on a Saturday morning. As soon as the parade is over, they clean things up. Then traffic is opened up, and then we start to let the flow of traffic back onto campus. Well, because of the issues of last year and just the traffic nightmares of people sitting in traffic 2, 3, 4 hours. Now, a lot of this, I have to say, as much as we can blame on traffic controlling, a lot of folks do understand what you're dealing with when it's a Southern University homecoming. A lot of people procrastinate. You just think you're going to show up late and pull up. It's just a lot that can be prevented. But because we realize a lot of people don't think that way and they just, hey, let's just go jump in traffic. I learned my lesson one year when I first moved here as a student. In my first year when I moved away from North Baton Rouge to another side of town and then tried to get over there, I sat in traffic for 2 hours and didn't make it anywhere past the library on Scenic Highway. As I watched everybody just walk by. Eventually, we said, forget it. We paid a guy some money, parked in his yard, and we got out and walked. I learned my lesson. That's all it took. One time, I'm good. A lot of people don't learn their lesson. A lot of people just still feel it's going to work for me because it's me. And we know how people bob and weave and out of traffic, whatever the case may be. But it was a traffic nightmare with people waiting hours to get onto campus. Some people never even made it. They turned around and left, and because of that, the complaint started to roll in, and Southern University said, all right, let us know your thoughts. Well, they've taken into consideration, and this year they have moved the Southern University Homecoming Parade. It would now start the week before. And when I say week before, it's that Sunday. Of course, the parade will be on that Sunday, October 12th, 2025 at 1 p.m. And homecoming will be further down the line. You guys agree with that? Are you okay with that? Let me know in the comments. That's what I want to know. Now, me personally, hey, to each his own. You had to come up with a solution. I get it. It is a problem. It became a problem. The actual homecoming date is going to be October the 18th against Prairie View. But the parade will be now October the 12th, which is a Sunday at 1 p.m. Now, me personally, I would have liked to see the parade maybe that Friday, the day before the actual homecoming festivities. I'm not much of a fan of having a homecoming parade when our alums are not able to be a part of the homecoming parade. That's kind of where I'm at with it, but I do understand it gives the community a better opportunity. I'm more of a fan, let's have the parade if the community can be a part of it, and I want the community to be a part of it. But most importantly, the alums that come into town, who bring their kids, who bring the family, and everybody who wants to be a part of what's going on. Now, I would have been a fan of if the parade was on Friday, right? We could do the parade early on Friday morning, midday Friday, 11, 12, take it down, scenic, whatever else, and anybody that's still coming onto traffic, you come around the backside. I would have been fine with that. But I'm not. That Sunday, a whole week in advance, I'm just not much of a fan of it. And the reason I'm not a fan of it because it is homecoming. It's for the alums. And when I say for the alums, it's an opportunity for everybody to be able to enjoy it. Yes, you want to alleviate traffic. You want to push things back. You want to give opportunities. Why? We can do it on Friday. You can still bring traffic around the backside on Swan Street. We can still do our thing and create that atmosphere on campus while it's leading into the main part of homecoming, which is that Saturday. But I'm not going to make it a big deal. Change had to occur, and the change did occur. I'm just not a fan myself personally of Sunday, and you got a whole week leading into Saturday. I would be fine with Friday. I know you may not be able to get all the high school bands to participate because you got games going on that night, Friday nights, right? But if you do it early on Friday and you have your local bands, they're going to make it to their games that night. We can do a 10, 11 o'clock parade on a Friday coming down Swan Street. Coming down Scenic Highway, Harding. That's just my thoughts on it now. Either way it goes, we got to make it work. I understand. In the past, I've been okay with it being on Saturday. I know to get on campus early. Everybody else, hey, I just know I've been to enough homecomings to understand how to get there and how to maintain order without putting myself in traffic. Now, that's me. I learned my lesson. But I would like to see it on Friday. It is what it is. I think Friday you could do it midday. It create that excitement within the neighborhood, within the community, still with on campus. Shut it down, clean it up. Everybody comes onto campus. We get things rocking and rolling. Then Saturday, hey, it is what it is. But the Sunday before, it just doesn't work for me for the Sunday before. And that's me personally. I can't help it, but that's just me personally. I just think that takes away from the opportunity for alums who do bring family and the kids and the younger people in the community who will be coming into Baton Rouge and want to be a part of the homecoming festivities. I think that just takes away for the opportunity for them to be involved because that's the whole point. It's homecoming. It's just not a parade. It's the homecoming parade. What is homecoming? People coming home to be a part. It's not a Baton Rouge parade, which that's what it would be now Sunday. It's going to be a Southern University homecoming parade, but it's basically a Baton Rouge parade. But we'll talk more about that. You guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Let's get ready to take a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal. It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe
to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth-quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody. I'm Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Everybody out there listening on Talk 107.3 FM. Good morning, everybody watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live. Glad to have you guys with us. And I know everybody who wants to have a comment, we've been getting people calling in terms of the Southern University Homecoming Parade. Give me a call at 830-225-499-1073, 225-499-1073. Kind of think about your thoughts. Give me a call at that time at 8:30, and let's have a discussion about it. Or as well, if you're in the comment sections, give me your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be able to keep up with and look at it and read it aloud. Let me know what you think about Southern University changing its homecoming date to the Sunday starting the week of homecoming and not on the actual Saturday as we move forward. But as I have a very special guest here in the studio this morning, my man, Mr. Isaiah Marshall. He is the founder of the Isaiah Marshall Foundation. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Doing good, man. And the main thing why I want to have you on this morning, because health is wealth when we start to talk about us as men. And one of the conversations I want to have, because I have a lot of listeners, both men and women that are out there, both in Baton Rouge and across the nation. But the main thing is, it's time to have these conversations when we're aside from sports where we get ourselves so judged and clouded. We know in sports, don't talk to me about going to the doctor.
Right.
Don't talk to me about none else, man. I got a game to go to this weekend. I got a tailgate. I'm trying to go kick it and have fun. But we have to make sure we take care of ourselves if we want to be able to survive to make it to the next season.
Yes, sir.
And one of those things, talk about the Isaiah Marshall Foundation and the reason behind you founding it.
Yes, sir. So the reason I found the Isaiah Marshall Foundation, it comes from just my personal story. I started having some health challenges probably around 2022, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened is I had to go to the doctor, emergency room actually, twice, kind of suffering with my stomach. Some things was going on that I thought. So the second time I end up going, as I'm driving as my wife is taking me to the emergency room, get a little graphic. I'm kind of throwing up, stuff going on with me. So much so I'm to the point where, Lord, I can't go like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not the way that this needs to go. So once I get to the emergency room, they run all kind of tests. They really can't find anything going on with me. They're thinking it's just bad acid reflux. And my wife had the wisdom to just say, well, check his blood sugar. When they checked my blood sugar was 200 plus, which is off the charts. And my A1C was 10.5, right? So, okay, they're saying, okay, that's what was causing all the nausea and everything going on with that. So the following morning, they were this close to actually wanting to give me insulin. So happened, I had already made an appointment the following week to go see a doctor for the first time in just years. They said, well, since you're going to the doctor, we're going to give you this metformin, and we're going to send you there. So just to fast forward just a little bit, I started taking the metformin, things of that nature, but I changed up my diet, and I started exercising. So within the year, I was able to be off of the metformin. My numbers were where they need to be. Then a year after that, 2024, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So it's like, man, it's just like one thing after the other. But as I was thinking about it, it was a good thing that the first episode happened, because had the first episode not happened, I wouldn't have caught the prostate cancer early.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have been going to the doctor. Like most of us, we don't like going to the doctor. I'm hustling and bustling. But my wife and my daughter was after me about going to get that done. So as it relates to the Isaiah Marshall Foundation, I had my procedure in November of last year. 3 o'clock the next morning in recovery, it kind of hit me. It's like, man, I had pretty good insurance. I had pretty good resources. I had a good support network. And then it's like, well, there's a lot of men who just don't have that. And then the other thing is, had I just been on top of it, going to the doctor like I need to go to the doctor, some things I probably would have caught. So the Isaiah Marshall Foundation is to raise awareness for us men, to tell us, brothers, go get yourself checked out.
And, this is an honest conversation, because the brothers out there, we understand that this is not a conversation we have a lot. Now, we'll talk about who the best between LeBron and Jordan.
Right.
We'll talk about all of this other stuff. But when it comes to that doctor talk,
yeah, we just don't want to have it.
We get it stubborn, don't we?
Yeah, we do, man. We get, and I was the same way.
Were there signs leading up to this that maybe you overlooked, that when they started to point things out, it was blatantly in your face, but you just overlooked it and equated to something else?
Yeah, with the diabetes for sure. So maybe like 2 weeks prior, my vision started to mess with me. So I'm going to the little dollar store, getting the little glasses. So I equated to, man, I'm just getting old. I'm just getting old. I need some glasses. Yeah, that's the phone. I can't see the words like I need to. Yeah, like, man, I'm running to the bathroom. So I'm just aging, right? Because I'm 49 at this point. So, yeah, things are happening with my body. So, with that, yes. With the prostate, I started to run to the bathroom a little bit more than usual, right? Like just frequent. So, that was a sign that I didn't know what was going on with me. And it's important because at this point, I'm going to the doctor quarterly. Prior to that, leading up to like 49, I'm not going to the doctor at all, to be honest.
Not even in the part of a conversation.
Not in the part of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not trying. I don't like taking medicine. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even. It take an act of Congress even to get me to the emergency room. That's the guy I was.
We good with sound over there? Okay.
So that's the guy I was. So when I'm going every 3 months now, so when I talked to the doctor, they was like, yeah, let's see what's going on. And so happened that they was taking blood work every 6 months. My PSA was elevated. So mine was a 5, but I didn't know if that was elevated because I didn't have a baseline.
Yeah.
So by the time I get to the urologist, it's like, well, let's see. So yeah, to your question, me frequently going to the bathroom was kind of the first sign that had I known, then I take one step back, not knowing my family history, which is important. We all go to the doctor and you see them questions about family histories and we blow through them. I don't know. I'm not worrying about it. Start to worry about it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize that my grandfather, my dad's dad, had died from prostate cancer. And then 2 years prior to me, My dad, I walked him through the process. So had I known that, and it's just by the grace of God, right? Because I'd have probably started checking when I was 35.
Yeah.
Had I known all that. I'm 49. So I'm 14 years without getting the baseline, getting checks. So really that's just by the, to me, by the grace of God, a man of faith, that he allowed me to walk through this process, and it wasn't as detrimental when I found it.
And this is a conversation. We got about 4 minutes before we take a break, but this is on the conversation because that's why I want to have it out there with people. There are a lot of us as men that don't like to have that conversation, and even when the doctor is recommended, we shoot shit, man. I take Advil, I drink some Theraflu, I'll be all right. But what is it that you think, and even particularly amongst African American men, that we often shun that doctor's visit, especially when it comes to checking our prostate?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. I think fear sets in of I don't want to know that if there is something wrong. Then I think don't want to be vulnerable. We prideful. For me, I didn't like needles.
Yeah, simple as that.
Simple. I just didn't like needles, and that very one little thing, I was like, man, I'm not new. I knew. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
And so that one little piece of fear kept me from going. And then again, I never felt bad. So just because you don't feel bad don't mean something's not going on with you.
And this is an honest conversation because we have to do better as a community as it relates to going to a doctor. First of all, having a doctor. Yep. And I think sometimes what scares people away too is the cost.
Yep.
Insurance may not have this, may not have that, then falling into the debt of medical costs.
Yes. And that's a real thing. And so I like to just give a shout out to, there's some medical professions out there. The one who took care of me is Baton Rouge Primary Care Collaborative. And they do sliding scales. And there's people who out there who do sliding scales. And I also say this, that we pay for what's important to us.
No doubt about it.
Right? We're talking about sports, right? If you're a real sports fan, and if that ticket costs something and you want to go, you're gonna figure out a way.
Especially between Southern LSU. Yeah. Don't even die during the football season, right? Don't get married, don't have baby showers.
Right.
We know what we're doing on the weekends.
Right.
We spending some money to go somewhere, to be at a game, tailgate, something, a bar.
Exactly. And it costs.
It costs.
So put the money where your priority is, and it's your health.
And the health is wealth, because at the end of the day, this matters so much, because this is a serious conversation that we ought to be ringing the alarm as in the community, because I do know a lot of men when it comes to as they get older, the stubbornness as it relates to when somebody points out maybe you should go to the doctor, maybe you should get that checked out, and then it turns into that back up against the wall. Don't be telling me I need to go to the doctor. I don't need to go to no doctor.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
yeah.
And this is an honest conversation, because what we can do, but you made it so much more clear, finding out the family history, because you don't know what's hereditary.
Exactly. And that makes all the difference in the world, because then you know what I need to be looking out for, what I need to get screened for, what I need to be able to get on top of. And, most importantly, take care of your diet, exercise. I don't smoke. I don't drink. All of those things are contributing factor. And one last thing is stress.
Yeah.
Your mental health is important as well.
Let's get ready to do this. Let's take a break. I got my man Isaiah Marshall here in the studio. He is the founder of the Isaiah Marshall Foundation. We're talking about your health. Men, women, it does not matter. If you know somebody out there, a nephew, an uncle, a cousin, your dad, your granddad, it is on us as family to be responsible to make sure we push to let them know to go get checked, especially in our community when we start to talk about prostate cancer and so many other things. So let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. You guys stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane. We're talking about fast break. We're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket. And his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
Receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out a foul.
Touchdown.
Backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle. Has his man at the 15. You know, I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle and a one-handed grab made.
The way. 3rd down in 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet. And Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back 5 yards.
All right, everybody, we're back. I'm Perry White. It's the Jaguar Journal. Glad to have you guys with us. Very special guest here in the studio, Mr. Isaiah Marshall. He's the founder of the Isaiah Marshall Foundation. And what we're talking about is health. Men, women, it does not matter out there. You know somebody who is getting up in age, who when you mention a doctor, they don't want to hear nothing about no damn doctor. Don't talk to me about no doctor. What the hell I need to go to the doctor for? I take one of these Advils, I wash my hands, and I should be good again, right? We think it's that simple, but in our community, particularly as black men, we have to have honest conversations within ourselves because this is not a conversation that you hear a lot of amongst us when it comes to our health. And this is so important to me because I know there are a lot of men that listen to this show because, first of all, the best way to get to the men is through sports.
Yes, sir.
We know we love our sports. We'll sit here. If I'm talking football right now, they'll be all the way in. But I get to talking health, man, I may change the channel. I may tune. Why do we do that, you know?
I think, man, we don't understand that way too many of us are dying way too early, and we don't have to because we don't understand how important prevention is. Talking about men in sports and men, we love our vehicles, right? We love our toys. So think about it like this. If you don't go and take that vehicle to get its oil changed when it's supposed to, and you just run it in and run it and run it, at some time, it's going to cost you a little more, and that motor going to go out. And you're going to be like, man, I wish I'd have did that on the front end and got that oil changed. You be on your kids if you go out there and check that oil and look at that stick. And it's my car has been tapping, and you take that and you look at that stick, you're going to be all over. Why you ain't go get the oil change? Yada, yada, yada. That's how you need to be thinking about your body.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of analogy. Go and get checked out because early detection truly saves lives. I know it saved mine. And knowing on the front end, it gives you options, right? Because when my urologist gave me the news, he's like, okay, look, It's good because you caught it early. Because you caught it early, that means you have options. So don't run from it. Embrace it. And if you take care of it on the front end, you do the prevention and get yourself checked, it'll be a whole lot smoother, right? And then some of us, man, I don't want to give up. Eat what I like. I won't eat what I won't eat, right? I don't want to hear you telling me I need to eat different. I don't need to be going exercise. I'm good, man. But you're not. You need to do some things different to make sure you're here for your family. Because the other thing I like to say, man, if we're not well, our families are not well.
That's it.
Because we're the head. So we're the foundation. So that's why it's important for us to be well, not only for us, but for our families as well.
Let's talk about our families because, once again, I want to make sure I reiterate that our families have histories. Yes. That history, sometime if we don't pay attention, could be the very thing that can save our lives if we find it. And a lot of times in families, we don't have conversations about how grandma died, about how Pawpaw died. Yeah. We kind of keep that internal. And then a lot of times you may be a child and don't understand, and that's important information that can come back and save your life.
Absolutely. And we'll see signs of it as kids. You see all the pill bottles, you see all the medicine, and you have no idea, right? You see the cholesterol, you see the diabetes, you see the high blood pressure. It's kind of around, but there's not direct conversations about it. Yeah. We need to be more active about having direct conversations because it's impacting us and our family. So it's important. Let's start having these conversations. That's the part of the Isaiah Marshall Foundation. Is let's raise the conversation about this so we can save lives.
And that's the thing about it, because that's why you're here this morning. I want to make sure I put it out on the airways because, once again, I can talk about Southern football all day and I can get all the listeners, all the views. They'll turn that up and listen to it. When it's talking about health, oh, man, I may change the channel this morning, may turn that down. I'll come back later, see if they come back talking about football. But your health matters. Let's talk about when you look at the Isaiah Marshall Foundation and you're talking about what you have to offer to bring awareness. Once again, let people know what that awareness means.
Yeah, so for me, what the awareness means is prime opportunity like we're doing now, making sure we can kind of get in front of people, have these conversations. I'm going to have a campaign that's kicked off. It's called Brother Go Get Checked Out.
Brother Go Get Checked Out.
Brother Go Get Checked Out. And so, June is kind of starting doing these things. We're going to have a real active presence on social media and things of that nature. In July, we're going to have some conversations because May 24th, I had a Men's Health Community Awareness Day where I brought my urologist was a part of this segment. And we had about 30 guys in the room where we just had a little Q&A conversation, almost like a barbershop talk. So we're going to do that again in July. August, we're going to continue the interviews and things of that nature and social media conversation. September, just got an exciting opportunity with Council on Aging to be able to partner with them at their conference to have some conversations with some seniors. Outside of that, working on something to be able to do something at the tailgate at Southern University. Football, and then wrapping up in October, we're going to do a large community event like I did in May, and bring my urologist out again, have a family fun and things of that nature, just to continue to elevate this conversation.
And for anybody that's out there listening or watching, how do they keep up with the Isaiah Marshall Foundation in order to get involved, to learn some things, or even find out where your next event is going to be?
Perfect. So it's very simple. It's Isaiah Marshall Foundation. So that's ISAIAH then foundation.org. That's where all of our information is posted. You also can follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well. But if you go to the website, you'll see the links to all of those.
We have to do better as a community, and particularly an African-American community, and that's why I have you on this morning. I want to bring that awareness because you are a survivor of prostate cancer.
Yes, sir.
You were able to detect it early and then find out that it was a family history.
Yes.
Your grandfather and your father, the writing was on the wall, but you had not known and understood it. For a lot of people out there, the writing is on the wall, but we ignore it.
Yes.
For a lot of people out there, the conversations are being had when it's the wives, the aunties, the mamas say, boy, you need to go to the doctor, and you study saying, I don't need to go to the doctor.
Yep.
we have to have those honest conversations because we spend a lot of time having conversations about a lot of things other than going to the doctor itself and going to get checked out.
Yeah, you're right. And, man, it's amazing how many conversations I have now that people inbox me, pull me to the side, and it's usually moms, you know, and saying, hey, my son just don't want to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Can you talk to him?
That's it.
And so, you know, and I've had an opportunity to talk to people, encourage them to go.
And that's the main thing. So if you're out there listening, make sure you check out the Isaiah Marshall Foundation. Look it up and become a part. Get active. And if you're not going to get active with it, just get active in your life out there in terms of health is wealth. Get to the doctor. Get checked out. It's scary. Okay? But you rather be alive or dead.
There you go.
It's simple as that. You rather catch it on the front end where you, like you said, you have options.
Yes, sir.
Then on the back end is, hey, it's nothing more we could do right here, but let it kind of run its course. It's things that are out there in terms of how we're able to go about doing it that's preventive. And we have to make sure we have these conversations with our young males as well. And then what is about a great time you think for men to start to be able to go and get their prostate checked?
Especially if you got family history, 30, 35. If you don't, about 40, 45. That's when you need to start getting
And one of the biggest issues we have in the African-American community is when we talk about a lot of young males who don't know their fathers.
Yep.
And it's hard to link that, you know, that link to not know.
Yeah, that's huge.
So we don't, you don't even know because you can't see the writing because it's like, how do I link that? And unfortunately, that's even more alarming why we should go to the doctor and get checked just because we don't even know what it looks like from our past.
Yep, and that's an excellent point too. If you're going regularly, then you can get that caught when they're doing it. And make sure you get your blood work. That's important. Get your blood work. I get blood work every 6 months.
That is the voice of Isaiah Marshall. He is the founder of the Isaiah Marshall Foundation. Everybody out there listening, let this be important to you. Go to the doctor, get checked, and if you want to keep up with Isaiah Marshall, you can look up the Isaiah Marshall Foundation. Google it, and you'll find all the information that you need. Isaiah Marshall, appreciate you for coming in this morning.
Appreciate you for having me, sir.
All right, everybody out there, let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. We're going to the top of the hour. Stay tuned. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Quarter with Jackson State leading 10-3. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. And every time you think Southern struggles, they come back, they make a play. They've done it all year long. Kick is up. Kick is good. Second down and a yard to go. Again, they give it to Lewis. Lewis finds room. Lewis still on his feet. Lewis making a move to the outside. He's inside the 25, the 10, the 5. What a run by Ryan Lewis. 69-yard run for Ryan Lewis. And how about this? Kicks up, kicks good. Halftime, George Johnson along with Charles Mann. Southern trailed in this football game 10-7. Then they reel off 14 straight points, and they do it with the big plays.
And that's something that we didn't think would happen, at least from Southern's perspective. They've been able to methodically go down the field on people and win ball games, not the big plays. You saw the big play by Ryan Lewis running 69 yards, the nice throw by Terrence Levy. This is something that I don't think Jackson State thought they would see in Southern either, and they go into halftime down by 7 points.
Jackson State came in the best defense out of the SWAC. And if you take a look at the highlights, you will see that this club, and I'm talking about Southern, was really able to capitalize on a couple of miscues, and the big plays are the result of it.
And this is Daniel Guy with a nice stiff arm to Bradley Pittman there. And he runs that ball 36 yards inside for a touchdown, makes it 7-3. And then Terrence Levy, quarterbacking, throws a big bomb to Michael Hayes, who gets by Rashard Anderson and waltzes into the end zone for a 69-yard reception. And then the big run by Ryan Lewis, a scat back for Southern, races 69 yards for the score. And that's where it stands right now, 17-10. Southern is on top.
Passing leaders in the conference, Donald Hayes from Grambling. Your top passer, Washington, second, but he's intercepted right there. This time the inside handoff,
and the ball was dropped, and Tommy
Head. Here's Taylor in the pocket, looking downfield and looking for Leroy Fields, and this one looks intercepted, and it is.
He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. Hayes now with 187 yards receiving. 169-yard touchdown, 181-yard touchdown.
And Southern's came up with all the big plays.
They lead by 14. And that one is intercepted by Darden. Darden looking for some room, and Guyon will finally drag him down. But we start the 4th right after this. 2nd down and 20 after the penalty.
Oh, he's got a man wide open.
Going into the corner. Touchdown! Reynolds attempting the point after. It's good. A 32-yard field goal. Kick is up. Kick is good.
This is a great football game.
We knew it would be, though. Torrey Thigpen got us out of our seats.
And this is the punt return by Torrey Thigpen. We were just talking about we haven't seen him. He breaks 2 tackles and runs up the sideline. He has great blocking, but gets pushed out of bounds on about the 1-yard line.
And touchdown Jackson State.
The game is a game of momentum swings. Snap is good. The kick is up.
On driver. Yes, sir.
The ball up to the big receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of bounds at the 10-yard line. An I formation. Oh! Fumble Levy. He kicks it and falls on top of it.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to everybody listening to Baton Rouge, capital city area on Talk 107.3 FM. Good to have you guys and everybody watching across the globe on our YouTube and Facebook page. Good morning. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm having a health is wealth conversation this morning, and everybody who wants to talk about the Southern University Homecoming Parade, of course, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. Just hold your comments. You can talk about it in the comments on the video side, as well as 225-499-1073 when we do have the conversation. But right now, I want to welcome here in the studio, very special guest, my man, Dr. Jonathan Taylor. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to have you because you're one of the few that look like myself that are around that is not only a medical doctor, you do the surgeries, you do it all. You're originally from Los Angeles, California, went to Howard Medical School, then come here to Baton Rouge, and let's just talk about who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, great. Well, I'm a general surgeon, but I specialize in robotics and bariatrics. Mm-hmm. And what that means basically is that I do a lot of what's called laparoscopic surgery, so the small hole, small incision surgery with the assistance of a robot. So it allows me to do surgery for gallbladder, cancers, weight loss, different things like that, hernia surgeries. So it's a wide variety of intra-abdominal surgeries that I perform.
Talk about in terms of your career. What made you want to be a doctor, man?
That's an interesting story. So my personal story, my mother had very bad health when I was a child growing up. And so spent a lot of time with her going to doctor visits, when she was hospitalized. So I saw physicians as the people that helped my mother live longer. Mm-hmm. So she also had lupus when I was young. So I get to see her try to live through that debilitating disease for decades. And then on a personal note, my pediatrician, Dr. Henry Hines, a black doctor who was one of the first black pediatric cardiologists in the United States. Mm-hmm. And he was influential with working at UCLA. And so by watching him be my doctor and then take care of me as I grew up, I had the affinity for wanting to take care of others. Through my mother's experience and through Dr. Hines, I always wanted to be a physician. Now, the funny part about the story is that when I was growing up, I wanted to be a pediatrician. My entire life, from far as I can remember when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a pediatrician. But then when I got to college, I started working in the lab at Walter Reed Medical Center in D.C. at Howard, and I started doing surgery on small animals in a neurophysiology and neuropharmacology model. So I started becoming kind of a rat surgeon, so to speak. And so becoming a rat surgeon, I realized I love to operate.
Yeah.
And that's where my desire went from being a pediatrician more to being a surgeon. Then as I progressed through medical school, I figured out that, I love kids. I want to help kids, but I don't like parents. Because as a physician, you're dealing with the entire family.
Yeah.
And I realized I want to focus on my patient, not necessarily on the entire family. And so that was surgery. I said, this is for me. I got a problem. I can fix it. We can move on. Now, what modified with me over time is that I learned about laparoscopic surgery, the small hole surgery. So when I was in training, when I started training back in 1996, we were doing everything as big open holes, big cuts, long incisions. Risk of infections, hernias, complications was very high. Doing through the small holes, that risk goes away significantly. And so we went from doing almost nothing laparoscopically to doing almost everything laparoscopically. And part of doing that, I learned about weight loss surgery or bariatric surgery. And that's where I kind of put my focus on robotics, laparoscopic surgery, and bariatrics, because bariatrics, to me, is one of the best surgery we can do for our patients, for our community, because most things that affect us as Black people, as African Americans in healthcare, high blood pressure, diabetes, cardiac risk, heart complications, stroke, sleep apnea, high cholesterol. All these come back to obesity. And by helping our patients lose weight and live healthier, they can live longer. And there's nothing else been proven in medicine for the last 40 years to be as beneficial to our overall health as weight loss surgery or bariatric surgery.
Now, everybody, if you're out there listening, this is the voice of Dr. Jonathan Taylor. He's my doctor. And one of the things I like to have the conversations with you, especially when I come get checked out by you, is I'm able to look at a doctor that looks like me. A lot of times in our community, that stops a lot of people from going to the doctor. Talk about that, because I'm sure you have these conversations when people find you and saying, I'm glad I found you, doc. I feel a little bit more at ease. And there's a reason behind that.
Correct. There is. And unfortunately, I've experienced that at least once a day in my clinic.
Yeah.
So every single day, I'll have a patient that's a Black patient. They'll say, you know what, doc, I'm glad I met you. I'm glad I get a chance to talk to you. I'm glad I have a chance to interact with you, because as the Black experience is shown through America, things are a little bit biased sometimes against us. And I'm being polite by saying it that way. But especially in healthcare, studies have proven over the last 20 years that a Black patient will get overall better treatment, better care, and a better care plan through a Black physician. And why is that so important? Because so many of us have health issues that need to be monitored better, monitored more invasively sometimes, taken care of long-term to get the health benefits that are out there. We have medications, we have treatment plans, we have therapy plans that are both medical and non-medical to help our people. And so having somebody can understand your plight is very important. So as a Black physician, it's part of what I do every day to make sure my Black patients understand we're here for you. I understand you. There's small things in how we speak to each other that others might not understand.
What's up, doc?
Exactly. Some people are put off by that. Usually I'll grip up my patients. I'll give them a hug. Let them know that, look, I'm here for you. Because it's important for people to have that personal interaction. And so I think as a Black physician, I can't say all of us, but all the ones that I know here in Baton Rouge, all of us really want to put the effort out there to make sure that our Black patients understand we're here for you. Because historically, we all heard about the Tuskegee experiment. We've heard about Henrietta Lacks and her cells not being taken care of properly. We've heard about how in the 1800s they experimented on Black women in gynecological procedures. And what it means, basically, they use Black slave women to find experiments to develop these instruments that they use in OBGYN till this day. And so for the last hundreds of years, the Black body has been experimented upon, being used inappropriately to develop a lot of the things we have in healthcare right now. So now it's our turn for us to understand that it's important for us as Black people, as African-American people, men and women, to take a benefit from what's been taken from our people.
Let's talk about where you are. You over at the Baton Rouge Clinic. Let people know if it's somebody out, because somebody out there is listening right now, and it's something they've been putting off long enough because maybe they felt uneasy about not being able to find a doctor, or they just don't know the steps. But let's talk about over at the Baton Rouge Clinic where you are. What do you offer? And if it's something out there that they're nervous of, that they can come to you and say, hey, as Dr. Taylor, I have a staff along with myself. We can ease things and make it easier for you.
Well, the beauty of being at the clinic is that we're the largest privately owned clinic in the state of Louisiana. So outside of the hospital systems, we're the biggest one. We have patient care from all over the Baton Rouge area, hence the Baton Rouge Clinic name, but also going a little bit north and also going a little bit west towards Appaloosis and up to Monroe. So for a patient who wants to get health care, we provide almost everything that you need. We have in primary care, we have in terms of internal medicine, pediatrics, We also have specialists. We have ENT physicians, general surgery like myself. We offer urology services. We have rheumatologists, neurologists. So in terms of different imaging things, lab things, so pretty much everything you need in primary care, the clinic offers it. And being a partner in that system is good for us to have physicians to have control over the healthcare. Because unlike other systems where it's controlled by, I hate to say it, business people who may not care about you as a patient, but only care about the bottom line, at the clinic, we're all physicians. We own the clinic. We control the clinic. So what we do at the clinic is based for our patients.
And when patients come to you, what are some of the questions that you hear, especially if they're not, regularly going to a doctor and now they have a situation where surgery is needed, or it's one of those, doc, I'm nervous situations? What are you normally hearing from those patients?
Well, the problem for most patients is exposure. What they see about surgery is what they see on Grey's Anatomy or what they see on different TV shows.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's a very, very unrealistic view of what surgery is all about. And so patients had this idea like, oh my God, doc, am I gonna die on the table? Oh my God, doc, am I gonna be awake during the operation? Oh my God, doc, are something gonna happen bad to me while I'm asleep? And most of those are unrealistic expectations. So what I need to do as a doctor is make sure my patient understands that, look, everybody that's involved in your surgery, from when you walk in the building until when you leave that building, is there primarily for your care. They're there to make sure that you have a comfortable as possible experience, make sure they're taking care of looking at your overall health care, make sure you're healthy enough for surgery, so that when you do have surgery, it's gonna be a safe environment. We have specialists to put you to sleep, to wake you up, and all those things people talk about on TV because they're trying to sell advertising money and make money off you is not true. The surgical suite is a very, very safe environment. Everything is controlled to the air that comes in, to the water that comes in, especially to the people that come in. So we try to make sure that the patient understands that we're here to make sure you have a very comfortable environment and a very safe environment. People like myself have been trained on how to take care of you. So being in the operating room is not as scary as it sounds. I mean, it's a very controlled environment to make sure it's safe. And my job is to make sure you're comfortable. So I'll talk and laugh with my patients. We'll explain what you're going to go through. We'll explain the good sides and the bad sides of the surgery to help minimize the risk physically as well as mentally undergoing an operation.
When you have these conversations, you go through it, and most of all, that's making you a doctor. Now, when you're out in the public and somebody looks and says, oh, you're a doctor, what a conversation. Do people tend to take that as like a consulting time? Like, doc, can I ask you a question about this, and that?
Did the sun rise this morning? I mean, I get we call it curbsided, get curbside consults. We get those every day.
Yeah.
And so the hard part of physicians is to try to make sure the patient understands, what you can offer them on the curbside.
Yeah.
I can give general health advice. I can't go into much detail, but I actually like those curbside discussions because, as I like from your earlier segment talking about prostate disease, a lot of people, especially a lot of black men, don't want to go to the doctor, or they're scared to go to the doctor because of the past history of healthcare in America. So when somebody approaches me, I don't take it as a bothering my time. I'm like, look, this is great.
Yeah.
Let's have an interaction. Let's discuss a little bit about your health real quick. Find out what we can do to try to get you online and get you in to see somebody, because those little curbside comments can save somebody's life. Telling a brother, look, get him into a doctor in 10 years, you need to get this check, you need to get this check, and get this check. And when they see it coming from me as a black physician, they understand that it's a better chance of getting taken care of properly.
Got about 2 minutes before we go to a break, but let's look at Louisiana as a whole, the community in which you serve. What is our issue as black males in Louisiana when we talk about health? Because Louisiana ranks near the bottom when you're talking about overall health.
The problem really is access. That's the number one thing. And this is one thing I'm worried about politically, is about access for healthcare for black men and black people in general. Most things that affect black men unproportionately is not because of genetics. It's access to care. Not seeing a doctor, not going to the doctor, and when you do go to a doctor, not getting the best care available because of either economic issues, fear, or biases. So I think the biggest block for Americans, especially here in Louisiana, is that getting that access. Part of that is you got to find out what is available to you. And programs like this, where you teach brothers how to go online, how to find the access, is critically important.
And I believe it is, because now, like I said before, I could talk football and I get all the listeners. But this is the conversation that we really have to have when we slow down, because guess what? There's nothing you can say I'm too big. Oh, it's a football game. It's basketball. It's baseball. Things are slowing down. You get that opportunity. Now is the time that if you've been pushing something off, go get checked. Go talk to your doctor. Go get looked at. Go try to catch things if there is something that you've been ignoring. Now is the time to go get it checked out. And you can go right over there to the Baton Rouge Clinic to go check out with Dr. Jonathan Taylor to say, hey, let me set up an appointment. Let me see what's going on. Because, look, it's nothing. Even if it's nothing, at least you know it's nothing. the worse you will find out, at least if you can catch it early and be able to detect something. Let's get ready to take a break, everybody. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Of course, I'm Perry White. It's the Jaguar Journal, and my man, Dr. Jonathan Taylor, here in the studio this morning. We're talking about your health. Tell somebody out there, because I know somebody's out there listening. You've been pushing something off. Somebody's been telling you, hey, you need to go get that little bump check. You need to get that bulge check. You need to go get whatever check. And you've been pushing off saying, hey, it's nothing. Go get it checked out, and we'll continue to have more of that conversation. Stay tuned, more of the Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And, Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help, only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking in the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown.
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times could he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8. The deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard. 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I'm Perry White, joined here in the studio with Dr. Jonathan Taylor. Good morning, everybody out there listening across the Baton Rouge Capital City area on Talk 107.3, and everybody listening across the world on our YouTube and Facebook channel. Glad to have you guys connected with us, and it does not matter where you are. I know this may not probably be the most watched or the most listened, but it is the most important because our health is on the line. And who would I be if I could talk all of these sports all day and talk about the issues, but the main issue is making sure we deal with ourselves to be able to be here another day, because we talk about, put this out, put that out, but how long can you put something off? And that's why I got Dr. Jonathan Taylor in here to talk about our health. And you graduated from HBCU Howard. First of all, I want to have that conversation with you. How important was Howard and Howard Medical School for you to get that education from an HBCU to become the medical doctor that you are today?
It's invaluable. I mean, I think the Black experience, especially at our HBCUs, is unrivaled to any. Our schools are as good, if not better, than the PWIs. And the experience of being at Howard, both undergrad and in medical school, allowed me to be a better physician. Mm-hmm. And one thing we taught ourselves, or we were taught at Howard, I should say, is that you got to be as good, if not better, to get half of what somebody else is going to get. Mm-hmm. So that drive is put into you from day one at Howard. And so when you leave Howard, you understand you are the best. It's not a question mark. It's not a thought that maybe I might measure up. You know you measure up. And when we go out there in the community, we prove we're the best. Now, in saying that, HBCUs, my family was predominantly a Southern family. I'm kind of the black sheep, the maverick. On my mom's side, my aunts, cousins, most of them are Southern graduates. My dad's side, they were all Tennessee State, TSU graduates. Okay. So me going to Howard.
You just by yourself.
I'm out there. There are a few of us at Howard, but I'm kind of out there by myself.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to go to Howard because even when I was a kid, which is 50 years ago, Howard was the pinnacle. We call it the Mecca of black education in America. But it's the Mecca for black society, in my opinion, for America. So being there, the experience of learning about literature, about math, about science, that you're going to get at an HBCU, build your foundation and make you a better person. And for me, it's being a better doctor. Now, the black experience at Howard Medical School is great because, we are the oldest and the greatest and the grandest. But in saying that, what we teach our students is how to take part in the community. Like I said, I wanted to be a pediatrician initially. I wanted to be a surgeon. But we still had events that where all the students, no matter what you wanted to go into for your career, were out there in the community helping people. So that community involvement is inspired in you when you're a Howard student.
And the big thing out there for everybody that's listening, we all know somebody, male, that you told them to go to the doctor to get something checked out. When you start to have that conversation, they just storm. They go find something else to do. Or I'm just too busy. We can find excuses when it's ready for an excuse, right? But in all honesty, we have to take better care of ourselves as African-American men. And I want to have that conversation out there with us, brothers, because from one brother to another brother, with a brother sitting next to me that can help you, we got to be honest. Why do we have to ignore it? Longevity means something to us, especially when we're talking about being on the forefront of taking care of our families. You talked about it. Having a wife will save your life, won't it?
Exactly.
Talk about that.
Hey, it saved my life. I'll tell you that right now. And that's what's so important about the community. Community is critical, but community starts at the home. So having that bond between man and wife is critical to make sure you have somebody to support you. But as black men, you are the leader of your family. You're supposed to be the one out there telling your family, leading your family in financial, education, spiritually, but also should be physically and medically. So you need to be a good example to your kids and show them, look, I'm a man, I'm responsible, I'm going to do what's best for my family. Most of us, if you're responsible, have life insurance. They're going to do a physical exam. They're going to find out whether you want to or not what your health issues are. So it's better to know what the health issues are before you even apply for your life insurance so they make sure you're taking care of yourself. Now, why is it so important for as a man to do these things? Because it's part of being a man. It's part of being a God-fearing Christian man, in my opinion, that you need to go out there and do what you need to do for your family. And so if you think about, I don't want to go see the doctor. I don't want some guy put his finger up my butt. Trust me, I don't want to put my finger up your butt. That's not my cup of tea.
But it's honest though.
but I gotta do that to make sure you're healthy.
Yeah.
We're doing this because we will make sure we can do what's best for your care. You mentioned about prostate cancer before. That finger exam is the main thing that can save so many black men. All the diseases that kill us as black people are not genetic. I mentioned before about access. It's a two-way street. We've not been offered the access, but now that we have the access being offered, we got to take advantage of the access. So getting that physical exam, getting that finger, can save a black man's life. Going along with that, getting that colonoscopy done. Now, the old recommendations were getting it done at 50. They changed it now down to 45 years old. And why do black people die from colon cancer? It's not genetic. I'm going to say it again. It is not genetic. It is access. We don't get this colonoscopy done soon enough or often enough to prevent that from happening. So we mentioned about prostate cancer, mentioned about colon cancer. We have to get our black men to get in and get that finger exam to find out if you got prostate disease or if there's any signs of getting colon cancer disease. So getting your colonoscopies, like, I don't want to get that stuff done. I want that thing on my butt. You got to get it done. I've got my colonoscopy done. I got my doctor to make sure my colon was clear. Because if you have a small polyp in your colon, it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 years to turn into a cancer. The screenings recommend at least every 10, if not sometimes down to 5 years. So if you're getting your colonoscopy screenings done properly, you can almost prevent you from getting colon cancer.
And what age will you start to push that, especially as we get older? Because that's the hard thing about male. I ain't accepting I'm getting older.
Exactly right.
So as we get older, what age do you start to say, all right, now's the time to go to the doctor to get things checked out a little bit more for these certain things?
Well, the first thing I tell all my patients, all male or female, is get your regular exams every year. See your doctor every year. That basic little checkup, like your car. You don't want to get your car tuned up properly, get your tires rotated, change your oil. Same thing on your body. Get that checkup every year. Now, in terms of the screening exams, I tell you for my male patients, you want to start to your doctor around 30 years old. which is very, very young.
Yeah.
But develop that relationship around 30. When you get to about 40, it's time for you to start looking at your major tune-up things getting done. Making sure you're getting that finger exam because you got to get rectum checked to make sure you don't have any prostate disease because, once again, prostate cancer affects us disproportionately because guys aren't getting that finger. 45, get that colonoscopy done. But also, you want, for us as black people, find a cardiologist, find a heart doctor to start working with because we start having high blood pressure and complications of hypertension. It's just going to start kicking in your 40s.
Yeah.
So, and we've got some great black cardiologists in Baton Rouge. You know, we got Dr. Newsom, we got Dr. Lamont, Dr. Green. These brothers really do a good job of taking care of our patients. So seeing these guys to make sure you're getting your heart screenings done. Work with those guys to make sure you're getting your echoes, called echo ultrasound of the heart, get your EKGs, those kind of things done. So starting at 40, 45, that's what you need to start getting these screenings done to make sure you're going to be healthy.
Man, this is such good information because I want to make sure everybody out there listening that you understand how important this is. It may not be that important to you because you may fall into that realm of blowing this stuff off because I don't want to talk about a doctor. But let's go even more because we talk about Louisiana being in the South, being able to afford health care. A lot of times that pushes people away. I don't want to get stuck with a medical bill. I can't afford to go to the doctor. What do you say to those people who may be underprivileged when we talk about in society who cannot afford certain things?
Well, that's the hard part about healthcare, which again comes back to access. And what you're saying about affordability is very true. The beauty of Obamacare, which people kind of blow off now because it's been so many years since it was instituted, there are plans available for almost everybody. And the plans are based upon your income level. So as long as you have some type of income, which most people have income from someplace, you can get an Obamacare plan. And so that will help you get what you need in terms of screening and different things like that. If you look at for our female patients and people that have children, Medicaid's available. So if you're a single man, but you take care of your kids properly, you can qualify for Medicaid. People don't think about that, but it's true. So if you're doing your job as a black man, taking care of your kids, you can probably qualify for some Medicaid support as well. So you want to make sure that you look out there, and with internet access and with chat GPT and all these different things, there's really no excuse to not find some way to get access to care. The care is available. Now, for people that have businesses, once again, the Obamacare plans are available. All the insurance companies have some plans available that can be considered, I hate to put this in air quotes, affordable, but it depends upon what's important to you. You know, if you can afford a cell phone bill, you can afford to go to Starbucks, you can afford health care.
Let's have this conversation. When people come to you in your office, what are you seeing now that may be bringing awareness to you of what people are dealing with in terms of health aspects?
Being a surgeon, I do a lot of things people have already been diagnosed or at least suggested by other doctors. So we're seeing a lot of people having gallbladder problems and gallbladder disease. And it comes back to what I do for a living, which is deal with metabolic diseases or diabetes or obesity, being overweight. And it's really coming down to medications. Medications are great for weight loss. Talk about the Ozempics, the Wegovy's, the Mounjaros, the Zepbounds, those things. They're great medications. We're seeing a lot more people coming in with complications from those medications.
Really?
Yes.
What seems to be the cause of that?
It's how the medications work.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing and a bad thing of all those medications. Like people think about every medication has some side effects. And so the benefit of those medications is great for weight loss, but the common side effects of slowing down your gut motility, which can lead to constipation, nausea, also leads down to gallbladder disease. People have more gallstones, pancreatitis, things like that. So those medications work very, very well. And I prescribe them myself in my practice. But a lot of times people aren't using the medications properly. They're not being screened properly. They're not being followed properly. Because those medications, when they're used, are supposed to be followed by a doctor consistently every month sometimes. And now you got all these internet access to these medications. People are getting the drugs, but not getting the proper follow-up or proper exams to make sure they're doing it in a healthy fashion.
Can sometimes, especially in your field with doctors, and especially when we talk about black people going to see doctors and sometimes not seeing a doctor that look like them, can arrogance of a doctor be in the way sometime of a patient?
Most definitely. And that's why I think you see the bias against black physicians versus white physicians dealing with black patients. Is that what we may perceive as being arrogance as a black person is just somebody's personality and vice versa. And I think having cultural understanding of your patients is why being a black physician is so important to take care of those black patients.
And I'm glad to have you as my doctor, and I hope anybody out there, if you're looking for a doctor, you definitely go check out at the Baton Rouge clinic, my man, Dr. Jonathan Taylor. Doc, I'm going to have you on. I'm going to hold you on just one more second because now I want to get to the education side of, I'm curious of how can we push to get more young people to look at being doctors. And this is one of those fields that when we look at our community, we have to be able to get more of our young people to get into certain areas that can help our community. And you are one that looked at this as a child and were motivated, and it was something that you dealt with that motivated you, that pushed you into being a doctor. So let's get ready to take a break, everybody, and we'll come back. We'll continue the conversation. I'm joined in the studio with my man, Dr. Jonathan Taylor. I'm Perry White. Stay tuned. We'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth-quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
All right, everybody, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I'm Perry White, joined in the studio with Dr. Jonathan Taylor. And we're having this conversation. Everybody listening across the Baton Rouge capital city area on Talk 107.3. Good morning. And everybody listening across the nation. We get people, Doc, all across the nation. We had someone listening in Paris, France last week. Newport News, Virginia, Harlem, New York, Chicago, Miami, Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, Dallas, Atlanta, Houston, L.A. They all over the place. They tune in and listen to the Jaguar Journal. We've built the platform up to where people are constantly driving it in to listen bright and early on a Saturday morning, might I add, because I know people love their Saturday mornings. I apologize for got you here. I know you love your Saturday mornings, but
hey, I love to be here. This is great.
I appreciate you, man, and everybody out there listening. I hope you're understanding why this conversation is important and why we're having it today, because we all know somebody that typically when we start to talk about a doctor visit or we're noticing something on them that we're like, hey, you probably want to get that checked out. Or we're noticing certain things or how they go about doing things like that. Just something don't. Can you just go to the doctor?
Yeah, just call somebody. And that's the thing. You can go. I mentioned about access again. I'm going to access again over and over again. The access is available.
Yeah.
There's some really good doctors out there, Baton Rouge Clinic, and people that aren't part of the Baton Rouge Clinic. I know 2 doctors I always want to bring up, talking about primary care, Dr. Ronnie Whitfield, the hip-hop doc.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really good friend of mine. He has platforms that you can access. he's always available. Dr. Ron Andrews, one of my frat brothers, Kappa Alpha Psi. I'm gotta plug my frat for a second here. And I'm gonna discuss that a little bit more in a second.
Okay.
Another good primary care physician. So there are doctors out there that are brothers that you can talk to, that are relatable, that are extending themselves out there to take care of our people.
And yeah, one of my friends who's also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, we went to high school and college together. Stephen Brodden, his dad was one of the first black doctors that handled these things back in the state of Arkansas. Stephen went to Wake Forest, and now he just opened up a practice back in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. He's a cardiologist. And so, no more than 36, 37 years old, so he went back to service a community that didn't quite understand the importance and to be a black face in that community, to be relatable. And because I mentioned that, he's my age, went and became a cardiologist. You went and became a medical doctor. Now let's talk about the pipeline of seeing more young people. What is it going to take, and what avenues can we do from your perspective of being able to push our young people to understand how important it is to be doctors?
Once again, it comes back to access. Now it's talking about access to education. I think that as parents and as community members, we need to make sure that our kids understand from preschool on. You can't decide when you're a third or fourth year college student, I want to become a doctor.
No, it don't work like that.
It's too late. And I hate to say it, but it really is too late for the majority of people. Some people can do it. So I don't want to say you can't do it, but you need to start with the pipeline. So we use that phrase directly. It starts with preschool. It starts with elementary school, working their way through. I know here in Baton Rouge, the East Baton Rouge Medical Association, we have a pipeline for students for middle school and high school and college kids that are thinking about healthcare careers, predominantly medicine, to have access to it. Dr. Rand Andrews has spearheaded a program in the last several years here in Baton Rouge. So we have a pipeline program in place in Baton Rouge to help young kids, male and female, that want to become physicians, get in the pipeline. So definitely check out our website for the EBRMA to look at our medical pipeline. But also, talking about Fraternity Kappa League, we have a program for middle school and high school young men to get involved in education. Part of that is making sure they have the access to doctors and also other physicians and other lawyers and other people to have access to getting higher level education. So Kappa League here in Baton Rouge is doing things like that. The 100 Black Men, they have, once again, programs starting with middle school, preschool, all the way through high school to get young brothers and young women as well into education to get them on the pipeline. So it's a matter of getting the education, getting the exposure, seeing what's out there, what's available. We were joking about it during the break about, when we were black kids, your parents say, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer. But there are other careers in healthcare besides being physicians that are underrepresented. We don't have enough ultrasound techs. We don't have enough CT scan, CAT scan techs, MRI technologists, nurses, nurse practitioners. There are a lot of positions out there that we do not simply have enough black people doing it. Now, Southern Nursing School is one of the best nursing schools in the country.
Yeah.
Not Louisiana, in the country. So you have access right down the street with Southern's nursing program. So the access is in our community is available. And black physicians and black healthcare providers, most of us reach back to try to provide programs to get these kids involved. So if you're worried about, if you're concerned with your kid going to medical school or being involved in allied health, allied sciences, or healthcare, the programs are out there. You can reach out to me, Dr. Ron Andrews, Dr. Rodney Whitfield. We can get you in with somebody that can tell you what's the best way for your 3-year-old, your 5-year-old, your 15-year-old, your 20-year-old to get involved in healthcare here in Baton Rouge to advance their careers.
You talking about Kappa League? I was in Kappa League in high school.
I know.
And then you look at the overall, because we had this conversation of how many people simply don't know to have the access. I'm blessed to be able to say, if I have an issue, I'll text you, hey, Dr. Taylor, hey, what's this, what's that? But a lot of people simply, and we talk about within our community, don't have access because there just simply aren't enough of the doctors, the nurses, and to be able to have that second opinion or that first opinion, just the first thought.
Right.
We have to do better as a community to push that in. I'm looking at Southern. You're talking about Southern. The best thing about Southern right now is you talk about one of the top nursing schools in the nation. And they're not saying, we're not putting HBCU behind it.
Right.
We're talking about point blank period. As we look at our HBCUs, because Howard is a great place in terms of where you come from, and they produced a great guy in which you are a blessing for the Baton Rouge community. When we look at Southern, what ways can we help improve Southern from within as alums that, like myself and many others, to help take it to the next level? Because I would love one day that Southern had a medical school.
And actually, believe it or not, that's something we've been working on with the state government and with local politicians to try and develop a program like they have with Xavier working with Ochsner, doing a similar program here in Baton Rouge with Southern. So things are in the works kind of in the background to try to get a similar program like that where the kids can go from Southern into either a medical school based in Baton Rouge or have more access to LSU's program in New Orleans. And so part of that is the pipeline, once again. And so we have worked with our professors at Southern and some people of administration at Southern to try to work out a program to where we can get these kids lined up from day one as freshmen. Now, I'm also hype Xavier. Xavier has one of the best programs in the country of getting young black people into medical school. My niece is going to Xavier next year because of that. And so we want to have Southern have a similar program where the kids know from day one, if you're pre-med, you got to do this. You're going to take these classes. You're going to do these summer research programs. You're going to have access to these companies, these hospitals, these physicians to get the research experience you need to go to that next level. And so the information is out there. And so people here in Baton Rouge are working actively to make that happen.
And I would love to see it. I'm waiting on the day. And when you talk about Southern having one of the top nursing schools, aside from that title, break that down. What does that mean for Southern and what they do to prepare those nurses? When we pull that aside, because you're a doctor, those nurses are going to be working alongside with you. What does that mean? They're the top nursing school, one of the top in the nation. What are they doing to learn and produce? And what are those nurses bringing to the table that people say in high regard? You went to Southern.
I think it's, once again, pipeline. When people want to go to Southern's nursing program, they start early usually. But the ones that get on campus, the program is developed so that they're supported what they need to learn about how to be a nurse. And they have enough mentors, nurses that come back to help them, make sure they understand the importance of being a Southern nurse. And they have the programs and the mentorship programs and the outreach to make sure that they get the other access they need to doing nurse practitioner programs, research through Southern, research to other programs, other schools as well. So they develop a network. They developed a system to make sure that these people are trained education-wise, but as well as the networking pathway outside of nursing.
Now, for anybody that's out there listening, they saying, you know what, and once again, aside from all of this information, at the end of the day, it's just basically for anybody out there listening, whether you got a brother, an uncle, a cousin, a dad, a granddad, a auntie, a mama, grandma, cousin, whoever, if a niece, a nephew, if you realize that you've been talking to them about dealing with something that you think could be a medical issue, or not only that, just going to get the checkups, that's the importance of today's conversation, not only with Dr. Taylor, but with my man, Isaiah Marshall, to just talk about, because Marshall talked about how he survived prostate cancer, but you know why? He was able to go get checked early on because of something else that detected and led him that way, but then found out the family history. My granddad had it. The writing was on the wall. We just didn't realize it. And for many out there, I want you to realize, why is it important for your health? At the end of the day, your health, because that's what's going to keep you here listening to the Jaguar Journal. That's what's going to keep you here going to the games on a Saturday. That's going to keep you here doing whatever, loving and supporting Southern and everything. You got to be here to do that.
Gotcha.
And to be here to do that takes the requirement of yourself, the responsibility of saying, I got to get myself checked out. I have to go to the doctor. And don't blow it off, because guess what, Doc, what you said before, we can get stubborn as black men.
Oh, definitely. We do. We do. And I think what you said was really important about that is being a black man. Part of that is leadership.
Yep.
You want to lead by example. And part of that is having those hard discussions. You know, we sit down at the barbecue, we sit down talking about Southern football, yelling about what coaches doing and what coaches not doing. We had those same discussions sitting down saying, look, man, I love you, my brother. When's the last time you talked to your doctor? When's the last time you saw, your healthcare provider? Have you got the finger done yet? Now, they have testing now that doesn't require the finger, that they can test your stool safely to look for blood or not. So there are other things you can do as well to get tested besides the finger. I do it jokingly, but other things can be out there. But you got to have the discussions. The discussion needs to start in the home, at the church, at the tailgate. I won't say at the bar, because I don't want to promote that kind of lifestyle.
But hey, if we there, we there.
You're there. So wherever you are, you got to talk to your boys and be like, look, we got to be healthy together.
Yep.
We want to go play golf, live longer. We got to make sure we're healthy.
Yep.
You want to get your golf swing tuned up. You're going to buy the little trainer. You're going to buy little different tools. So you want to do something with your health care. Find out what you can do out there to get help. So EBRMA, East Veterans Medical Association, we've got a website out there that lists a lot of black doctors that are available in the community, black men and black women. Make sure you're comfortable. We got young, we got old. What's out there? They're available to make sure you give you that guidance.
And not only that, you yourself are a surgeon. So, if you need that procedure done, Dr. Jonathan Taylor. Let people know where they can find you, the information if they want to reach out, schedule an appointment with your office, whatever they need to do. He's my doctor, so I'm letting y'all know I trust him. And I'm putting it out there. That's why I got him on this morning. I'm telling you about a doctor I trust. Hopefully you can trust him too when you've been putting off whatever you need. But Dr. Taylor, let people know how they can find you, keep up with you, and schedule that appointment that they've been putting off.
Well, I'm easy access. I'm at Baton Rouge Clinic. We're online, so you look up the Baton Rouge Clinic or BatonRougeClinic.com. We're out there. We're also part of the Epic system. So if you're a doctor as part of the Lake or part of the other Epic systems, we have access that way. And so you can reach me online through BatonRougeClinic.com. And you can track me. My office phone number is 225-246-9470 if you want to call my office directly. My nurse is great. She'll answer the phone for you and hook you up with me.
Let them know the number again, one more time.
It's 225-246-9470 for my office line directly.
This is a great guy, and I want you guys to understand that there are doctors out there. He has an HBCU background, graduated from Howard Medical School, and guess what? Just overall a great guy. And if it's somebody out there in terms of you've been putting things off and you're just not comfortable with a doctor, I'm telling you, he's my doctor. He could be your doctor too. Give him a call. Check him out over at the Baton Rouge Clinic. And if there's anybody out there, no matter if you're in Baton Rouge or across the world, wherever you're listening, get with somebody and go check yourself out. Get with that doctor. Go see something. And just, Doc, before you go, just tell them how important it is to go ahead and get on top of things early.
I can't say it enough. You got to get it done. See your doctor early. See him frequently. You get your car tuned up. Get your body tuned up. Get your checkups done.
That is the voice of Dr. Jonathan Taylor. He's a medical doctor here in Baton Rouge. He can perform that surgery on you. He can simply do a checkup on you, regardless of the fact, very well-rounded, most of all, a God-fearing man, very great guy to get to know. And if you, too, looking for a doctor, he can be your doctor, and you can get to see that and learn that more as he helped take care of your medical needs. So, Dr. Taylor, thank you for coming in this morning, man.
Having me, brother.
Glad to have you. And this won't be, I'll bring you back again whenever you get some free time. It's tough to get a doctor, y'all. They're on call. They're busy. They travel. It's tough. But for you to come in this morning, I appreciate you. And I don't want it to be the last time because I continue wanting to bring health awareness out there. Health is wealth to our people, especially our black males and our black women out as a community out there as we talk about Southern University. You guys love to talk football, but as just as much as football, I love to talk to things that matter, not only the political side of our community, but the health of our community. And that's what matters most because we got to be alive to do any of that other stuff.
Definitely.
Health is first. Everything else is second.
That's right. That's right.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. We'll get ready to close things out, guys. Thank you, Dr. Taylor.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, we'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket. And his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver Hayes makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his pass.
It's a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
The receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of foul.
Touchdown.
Backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle. Has his man at the 15. You know, I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle and a one-handed grab made.
The way. 3rd down and 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet, and Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back 5 yards. Levy.
The Jaguar Journal want to thank Dr. Jonathan Taylor coming in talking to us about our medical side of things, right? Wasn't that a great conversation? I thought so wonderful in terms of the information. And I'll bring them back, and next time when I bring them back, I'll leave the phone lines open. Maybe you guys want to call and maybe get that free consultation right here. Hey, Doc, about this. Hey, Doc, about that. But let's go to the phone lines real quick. We got my man, is Chuck on the line? Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning. I'm going to be quick. Yeah, it's something you bring all that in. You're just talking about homecoming and they got the influx of people that come, and you talk about health. And like up here at Grambling, when we have homecoming, you have people coming from the Monroe direction, from the Shreveport and Dallas direction coming in for homecoming. And that's a lot of people there. You start bringing in the health part, and that's something you were just talking about at the games. No, that's not going to be discussion about health. You might get a discussion like that, like at his alma mater, Howard University, or at Morehouse College. Morehouse College has a school of medicine. Howard has the medical school. That's going to be discussion. People always make jokes about them being bourgeois. In slang terms, bougie. But the thing about it, but in all seriousness, it's great to have those people there because, things can happen right there at your games because people I've seen at Grambling games, people have had, and other events, people have had health challenges, had to be taken to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You always, in the crowd, you're going to have your doctors and your nurses there at the games who are available to give attention. And the thing about it, we having them in that crowd is that makes a big difference there because they can get to a situation and we're having the ambulance come in, they can get you on to the hospital and they can pick up on the tech what's going on. I didn't mean to go.
All right, Chuck, thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right, you all take care.
All right. We got another caller? All right, let's go to the phone line. We got Sam on the line. Good morning, Sam. How you doing?
Yeah, Perry, good to hear from you about the special medical aspect. Pennington Bowell Medical Research Center has a lot of programs designed for African American as well as male and female of any race or ethnic origin. And they have all kind of diagnostic testing that normally you will be getting. Sometimes some people don't go because their insurance won't allow them to have their testing and it costs too much. Anywhere from MRI to bone scans. And talk to Dr. Robert Newton at Pennington Bowell Medical Research Center. Sometimes they come to the YMCAs and set up for a couple of hours different times during the year. And they also go to churches and facilities to check on people who might have a problem with getting access to good medical care.
Appreciate you for that information, Sam. Anything else?
That's it.
Hey, Sam, appreciate you, man. That's what it's all about. Health is wealth. We got to work together in terms of our community to let know information out there. And I thank you for that information, Sam.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. Hope everybody out there has enjoyed today's show. My man Isaiah Marshall came in talking about the Isaiah Marshall Foundation fellas in terms of getting your prostate checked. He survived prostate cancer, but only because he was able to detect it early and then didn't realize the writing was on the wall. His grandfather had died from prostate cancer. His dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and then it ultimately came down to him. There are things out there that we have to pay attention to as a community, that we have to realize what can be prevented and what can be maintained. And if we get on it early enough, we can be able to knock some things out the way where it's not late. Like he said, if you catch it early, you'll have options. On the back end, there are no options. And I want to thank Dr. Jonathan Taylor coming in, medical doctor, Howard University grad, talking to us about how he services the Baton Rouge community. He is my doctor as well. And it's just great to be able to have these conversations because, fellas, ladies, everybody that's out there, you got to be alive to enjoy the things that you want. And all the things that you try to push off to go do, You got to be alive to go do it. So that means it starts with your health. And I want to make sure that you understand health is wealth. And that's what I made today about. Let's just have the conversation. It's one of those days where we can, because it ain't much going on these days. Sports is coming down, and now we're having this free time. And while I have this free time, you're not too busy. You got time to go to the doctor now before the season gets started, to go get that checkup, to go get whatever it is you've been pushing off. The body tells you when something is wrong, and you sometimes just ignore it. But the body allows to make sure it tells you if something is not right. Listen to the body and go get checked. And I want you guys, I really do love y'all enough to have this conversation with you guys, because you guys know I love my community. I'm constructively criticizing the community, but at the same time, I'm giving information to the community. And whether we're talking about Southern and HBCUs, whether we're talking about politics, whether we're talking about finances, or whether we're talking about health, because at the top of that list is health. You got to make sure that you good, because somebody got to be here to take care of the wife, the kids, the family. And black men, we got to be here. Black men, listen to me. As a man talking to you, we got to be here for our communities. We got to be strong for what we bring to the table for our communities. It means something. That's how we're going to strengthen each other. And we got to be able to push more younger people into this field so we can become better with helping each other in this community when I talk about health care. And we got to have honest conversations with each other when we're talking about health care, period. We can sit there and talk about the LeBron and Jordan, but talk about your doctor, man. Who's your doctor, man? Here's my doctor. You went to the doctor? Yeah, I got checked out, got my blood work, man. Hey, I recommend you go get this. I recommend. We got to have those conversations with each other. And I just want to make sure I continue to push that. I'll talk more about the homecoming thing next week. I didn't want to get too caught up into that, but we'll talk more about that next week. I'll leave the floor open for that and whatever else comes along with that. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the show today. Be sure to follow the Jaguar Journal on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. You can go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like and follow us on X, on Facebook, on Instagram. And be sure to tune in each and every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on the Jaguar Journal on 107.3 FM. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's show. I know a lot of times the information is not the most listened to, but I feel good about myself as a man, making sure I did at least provide the information. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Am I doing my part? And people say, what are you doing? What have you done? I'm doing my part for the community, and not just for Southern, but for all of us, because at the end of the day, I understand to make a community strong and to keep a community, we first have to be alive. So let's make sure that we take care of ourselves, that we realize how important health is, and don't push off those medical things. Take them on head on and just accept it, take care of it, and then we'll go through and support you as a community for whatever you're dealing with, because that's why we're here. And at the end of the day, that's what's most important. So hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, all right? And we'll be back next week. Same time, same place, because always, it's the Jaguar Journal. Hope you guys have a great weekend and a great week.
Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.